Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with another video. This time it's a wish list. So the Switch has been getting a lot of press, it's been getting a lot of, there are series coming out for it that, you know, people are expecting just to be left by the wayside. Bomberman R is a really good example of that. It's one that not expecting. And then we already know the Switch is going to cater to a lot of franchises that I wasn't expecting, but we're kind of glad we're going to see. Those franchises including, we've got a new Xenoblade game, we've got something from Suda51, so maybe a No More Heroes-esque thing, we've got a Fire Emblem game coming out for it, we've got Fire Emblem Heroes, and then they've said a more traditional Fire Emblem game, and then we're getting Sonic Mania, which is basically your quintessential 2D Sonic, but we're also getting Sonic 2017 as a part of that as well. So we're getting a lot of franchises that haven't been active in a while in some ways, or ones that you didn't expect to see on a Nintendo console. And I've got a wish list here of some actual physical games that I wish got either a port or a series revamp. I'd prefer a series revamp, but if we're going to take a port, I'll take a port. And these are all things that have been on a Nintendo console previously. But then there are also, you know, some serious wish lists, the ones that are way out there that I know are never going to happen. Things like Dragon Force, Wild Arms. The Ys series might actually, or Wise, I don't know how it's pronounced. That one actually has a possibility of showing up because that one's still kicking, it's still around. Things like Power Stone, I would love a Power Stone game. Not one we're probably going to see. I'd love to see the Grandy games make it on there, as well as like the Lunar games. And those got, you know, re-releases. Grandy 2 just hit Steam. Lunar had a PSP game, which I've got a couple of PSP games here. So I would like to see these make it onto the Switch. And I think, you know, this is granted the ultimate nerd, you know, like wish list. Like, this is going to be a little out there. I know things like the Shining series, not going to make it. As much as I would love the Panzer Dragoon Saga, not going to make it. Things like that, basically anything from the Saturn, I know is not going to make it. Dragon Force is a possibility because there was a PS2 port to it, so we might be able to cannibalize that one. But the rest of these are things that have appeared on a Nintendo platform previously that, again, I think we could do something really well with. So the first one is Final Fantasy Tactics, and this is War of the Lions. It came out on the PSP, so it's got some of the extra stuff. The original game never made it on a Nintendo console, but we had the Advanced series, Tactics Advanced, which I didn't like as much, mostly because I don't like limitations on it. This race can only be this class. I really hate that, because sometimes you just want someone of a specific race to be a certain class, and they don't have access to that. That's a mechanic that's always bugged me in games. So I think, you know, a return to like the nitty-gritty, you know, kind of darker, because the Tactics Advance also seemed to have, they did cover some fairly mature themes, but it did seem more lighthearted, especially compared to the very, very politically intrigue-heavy War of the Lions. So I'd like to see War of the Lions type come back, you know, with all of its broken character classes and everything. The next one I would like to see, another PSP game, Star Ocean. Now, the Star Ocean series has been still going on. The most recent one didn't get the most favorable reviews, but I would actually like to see the PSP style, the 2D on the 3D backgrounds, the more sprite, rather than like the full 3D. Square Enix has been doing stuff like this with Octopath Traveler, so I think they might be able to take like the Octopath Traveler style and throw it into, like, just do a Star Ocean style. Because again, Star Ocean was on the SNES. I think it was this, it may have been the second one. I get really confused with the Star Ocean series because the re-releases, First Departure, Second Evolution, Second Coming of Christ, whatever, they were, the naming for them really kind of messes with me a little bit. So I'd like to see another Star Ocean game with like the Octopath Traveler style. That would be my ultimate wish. Breath of Fire. This is Breath of Fire 4, but really any of the Breath of Fires. Breath of Fire 1 and 2 were on the SNES, and then the series jumped to the PS1, where you've got 3 and 4, and then there was one on the PS2, Dragon Quarter, and now it's a mobile game that no one seems to really like, is the what I'm hearing from that. So I would love to see this series come back to Nintendo and come back to not being a cash grab of sorts. You know, that is what I would like to see. Mostly because the series is really, I don't even have to talk about these. There's so many people are gonna know what these series are. You know, old school JRPG. This one's done by Capcom, and it really can hold its own against any of the Final Fantasies. It's got a good world lore, interesting mechanics about dragon transformations. The characters are all really neat. Like I don't have to go into depth with that one, because most of these games you all are already gonna know. So next up, this is the PS1 version, but this also first came out on the SNES. Ogre Battle: March of the Black Queen. It also had Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. The Ogre Battle games are really interesting strategy RPGs because they're not grid-based. They're just, you move around. This game has been a massive influence on so many things that I've done gaming-wise outside of just video gaming. I ran a tabletop RPG that was based off of a lot of the mechanics of this. So many things that I've done in my nerd-related life have linked to Ogre Battle in some way, shape, or form. I would love there to be, and it doesn't have to be, it could just go back to the N64 style with the 3D quasi graphics. I would be fine with that. Just give me this strategy in depth. Atlas, please. You're already supporting the Switch with Shin Megami, so come on, please. We want more Ogre Battle. And the funny thing is, I've got 2 of these from various consoles, from each console. So moving on, we've got Advance Wars. Now this is Days of Ruin, which was really dark, and then Dual Strike was also really dark. The first 2 Advance Wars games on the Game Boy Advance were actually a little lighthearted, and I'd be fine with those. Like, in fact, I think the DS games got a little too dark. Like, it's rough. But this is, you know, military tactics style game, so if you're not a fan of the sword and sorcery that Fire Emblem tends to lead toward, you want to go with a more modern take on it, you know, planes versus tanks, that sort of. The Advance Wars games are amazing, and I put this on my top 10 SRPG list, and so many people got mad saying Advance Wars is not an RPG. What the hell are you talking about? No, I'm going to stick with it. It's an amazing SRPG, and I would love to see Nintendo get a version of that. And then, you know, any tactics style games like this you can do, you know, multiplayer would be amazing. You've got 8 people that can play. If you've got 8 Switches, you can have 8 people playing all at once. Get on that, Nintendo. Next up, I know we're not going to get the Shining series, but I can wish that maybe Camelot could do something along the lines of Golden Sun? Because the first 2 games were amazing. This one was a little more polarizing. People were not as enthralled with this game as they were the first 2. I'm just gonna go out and say I don't care. I like the games. I see so much of old school Camelot in these games. No matter what, I love them. I would love to see more Golden Sun games, or, you know, bring back Beyond the Beyond. Even, I don't care. Just not make it as grindy as Beyond the Beyond. I really think I know Camelot's still working with Nintendo. They did one of the Mario Sports games recently. Come on, guys. These games are amazing. I know Nintendo didn't... They gave the first 2 kind of a shot. I don't feel like Dark Dawn really got as much of a shot as it should have done. Now, this one's going to be a little polarizing as well, but it can go in so many ways. This is Super Paper Mario. I like Super Paper Mario. I like that Super Paper Mario is more of an action platformer. I like the action platformer aspects, but I still do love the actual turn-based RPG. So, Paper Mario that's, you know, either full-on platformer like this, action platformer. I mean, the enemies have, you know, a number of hits that you can deal with, but it's definitely not going into combat like Sticker Star or Color Splash. I like Color Splash, but if we're gonna go the RPG route, go full on RPG with it. Come on, Nintendo. You've got 2 games in one here. You've got the platformer, stick with the platformer with like the weird transitions into 2D and 3D. You can stick that, and then go with the RPG. Just have, full on RPG, and have multiple play, have a party of 3 people, bring back some of the Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars roots with it, Mario, Peach, and Bowser on the same side again, come on. It so much here that you can do that people want. Oh, so much. This one. This is going to be weird. This is Muramasa, the Demon Blade. Now, I don't care if it's Muramasa. I don't care if it's something like Odin Sphere. I don't care if it's something like Princess Crown or Battle Princess of Arcadius. I want a 2D hack and slash beat 'em up with this gorgeous art style. I don't care what you do with it. Make it Norse, make it medieval, make it Asian inspired, make it Southeast Asian inspired, make it South American inspired. I don't care. I want a 2D side-scrolling hack and slash action platform. So many things in this one that this got ported to Vita, did very well. We just got an HD remake of Odin Sphere on PS4. Come on, you can do it. Totally, you can do it. Yes, do it. We want more. Next up, this one came out on the GameCube. Ikaruga. I really think we could do with some more shmups, shoot 'em ups. And this was originally on the Dreamcast, and never made its way to the US on the Dreamcast, and so the GameCube got this version. And then you've also got games like Radiant Silvergun that just came out on, not just, but came out on Steam and did really well. I really think we could do some really good shoot 'em ups, and I think the Switch could do really well on it. Instead of having us turn it this way, and then you could have like the long screen experience that Ikaruga really was aiming for. So many things that they could do with this. I really think Ikaruga, Radiant Silvergun could make an easy comeback. Easy comeback. And then the last one that I've got is probably the most long shot of them all. Skies of Arcadia Legends. I don't know what I could say about this one that I haven't already said. The GameCube version had a bunch of extra content that was not available on the Dreamcast version. It had new characters, new side quests, new story. How there was more to it than even just the DLC. You had the Dreamcast DLC on this, which, the fact that I'm saying Dreamcast DLC blows my mind, considering that was, early 2000s. But this had so much more to it. The only problem is, the reason why I don't like this version as much is because it is on one single mini disc, meaning they had to completely gut the sound. The audio was so compressed, it was almost painful to fit it on that, because you're taking 2 CDs and trying to cram all of the information plus extra. They super compressed the audio. I would really like a new Skies of Arcadia game, and this one's the most long shot because it's Sega, and we all know how Sega really does not like to deal with any of their old franchises. But since this was on the GameCube, I really think Nintendo could say, hey, Sega, can you just port that game, just make that game just playable on the Switch? That's all it would really take for me. And again, these are all just, things that have already been on a Nintendo console in some way, shape, or form. I'd love to see these series get revisited. We already know there's going to be some series that are going to be brought up. Like, we know Disgaea 5's coming out, so that's a chance for, more Disgaea games, more NIS titles. We know there's going to be a Zelda game, obviously, so we know Zelda's going to be represented. You can assume that there's going to be a Kirby game. We know Mario's coming soon. We can hope that there's going to be a Metroid game, and I'd like one of the 2D games because I love the Metroidvania games, even though I'm having such a hard time with Super Metroid for the live streams on the control scheme for that. But I love the Metroidvania style games. I know people also like the Prime games, so that's 2 different games that they could throw out with that. So, I mean, there are a bunch of franchises that, you know, could get, you know, revamped. And these are just, you know, ones that I could see Nintendo, you know, chilling out the money for. It's just like, hey, we've got some cash. Can you make another Golden Sun game, please? Sure, why not? Rather than, you know, the long shot series, like, hey, make a sequel to Chrono Trigger, like an actual sequel to Chrono Trigger. We're getting I Am Setsuna on the Switch, but I Am Setsuna is very much it's a love letter to Chrono Trigger. Maybe we'll get another one. I don't know. But I know there's going to be some things that, like, I was looking through these, and like, I'd love a new Star Fox game. I would. There's a higher likelihood of that because, you know, Nintendo. Maybe a new Captain Toad game. But then there's also going to be things that we just know probably are not going to happen as much as we want them to. Like, I would love Seiken Densetsu 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, rather, is what they are. Secret of Mana for that. It's but we know Seiken Densetsu 3 never got an official release. It's probably never going to get an official release. It has a fan translation that's as close as you're going to get. And, you know, it's got some bugs to it that would probably need to be fixed. So, as much as I'd love to see both of those on the Switch, I know we'll probably get one as far as a virtual console game. And that's going to be it. So, I'm trying to keep this, you know, relatively low expectations. Like, I know, huge wish list for the Switch. Hey, I'd love to see Shining Force 3, all 3 parts. Use the translation team. Just throw that on there. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I'd kill for that to happen, honestly. I know it's not. So this list I try to keep somewhat reasonable, somewhat realistic, and even these are a bit of a stretch in some cases. I'm not even gonna lie, some of these are a bit of a stretch. I know, because a lot of these we don't have a lot of say in, because, you know, I brought up the Power Stone series. That's Capcom. Power Stone hasn't seen the light of day since the PSP, which it's been a while since the PSP version. And then they're also the ones responsible for Breath of Fire. Those licenses, I haven't had anything happen with them in a very long time, in the grand scheme of things. So I really don't think that's likely, but, you know, it's a pipe dream for me. So, but it's a slightly more realistic pipe dream than say, hey, let's get these Saturn games that we know we're never going to see the light, or, you know, something along those lines, or like another Suikoden game along the lines of Suikoden 2. Things that we know are not going to happen. Or, you know, a Castlevania game at all. Oh, that was me. I apologize. So, I would love to hear your wish list for the Switch. What games would need to be on the... Like, if you haven't already decided you're going to get a Switch, what game would be an instant sell for you? That, hey, this game just got announced. What would it be to instantly get you to be like, I'm on board with the Switch? Or if you're already on board with the Switch and would just love to see a specific game take advantage of its, you know, console on-the-go capabilities, what would that be? I'd love to know what that was. So, because like I said, I just gave you a list of mine. So, let me know your wish list for the Switch, or maybe just, you know, wish list for any next gens. I don't know. I figure the Switch is good because these are games that haven't seen the light of day in a while. So, so yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, and I will go. Again, I'm going to keep plugging things because, yes, like, comment, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz. You know, help out the channel as you can. If you like the video, hit the like button, that sort of thing. Comments help, subscriptions help, and if you want to help the channel directly, I do have, you know, fan funding and Patreon to help go, and, you know, you do get rewards for the Patreon. So we've got that going for us to help, you know, produce more of this high quality content. So such high quality. I'm not even putting not even putting graphics up, simply because I have the actual cases. If I didn't have the actual cases, I would put, you know, fancy graphics, but who cares? Who cares? So, yeah, thank you for all of your continued support, and like I said, I would love to hear your comments about your Switch wish list. Say that 3 times fast. So till then, later everyone.